Hi, this is Sue from the Mountain Canary Company. Ed has a whole slew of things that he wants to talk to you about, and I can't remember what all they are. So he's going to tell you. So here he goes.
Hi again, folks. Thank you all for coming by and visiting. And I don't blame Sue because I've been bouncing around on this thing for quite a while now. Our visit here will be a series of a couple parts. At least. And what I want to talk to you about is saddles, riding saddles for the backcountry. I will also someday down the road be giving you another set of patience developers on pack saddles. For the day I want to start to talk about riding saddles, I want to talk to you right from the bottom of soup to nuts. I'll talk about how they're built and how they're supposed to fit. I'm not going to go into fitting. Be patient with me later on when the weather gets better and I get a little better at some of this. I'll take you outside and we'll do a lot more information on fitting ride saddles. And my goal also is to put on some classes on videos on how to shape a pack saddle, how to make a pack saddle fit. So these are all goals down the line, so stay with us. But okay, for today, or for the next couple of days, I'm going to start talking to you about riding saddles, and I've had quite a bit of interest. Geez, Ed, what do you use on your mules for a riding saddle? It's a big question, but truthful. Mules are somewhat at times hard to fit. Well, because it's a lot to do with the tree in the saddle. The shape the tree should be to fit the mule's back, and most of the saddles you're going to see for sale, more than likely, and I have a big disclaimer there, more than likely won't be fitting a mule very well because of the fact they're designed for horses. There's a lot more rafter to it. There's a lot more rocker in the rafter. Rafter's this way like in a house, and rockers this way. So it's a lot more difficult. Now it's not just mules. I've had half-linger horses. Man, some of those are darn near impossible to fit. I've helped to fit all kinds of different horses. We've only had one horse in here over the years and we haven't been able to fit. That poor thing should have been hooked and harnessed up to a wagon. Some of the breeds don't do well with regular saddles. They're very hard to fit. Gypsies, for example, especially a good male gypsy, he's got good stout withers and a real nice big rump, and that's what happens with these beautiful horses, but there's a short area to fit the saddle and too short. So I'm going to take a little break here for just a second, and I'm going to move in a saddle stand, and we're going to look at some trees. And okay, Sue, if you'll cut this for a second for me, please. Okay, folks, thanks. We're back. Thanks for being patient waiting for us. I don't know if you even noticed. But what I've got here is because we're going to focus mostly on mules right now, but horse people I think should listen too, because I've seen mule saddles, mule trees that fit some horses extremely well, especially some of these horses, like, if I remember correctly, it was a Rocky Mountain gaited horse, came in here, and you know, she brought in a saddle that she said was made for that horse. We flopped it on, and geez, you know, just something wasn't really right. Couldn't quite put her finger on it. But then I went in the house and grabbed one of these trees for a mule. Went out, slapped it on it, and it fit just like it was made for it. So the thing about it is, don't necessarily think for 1 minute that just because it says horse or mule doesn't mean it's not going to fit your animal. Your animals are in many cases, very, very specific. They haven't been bred for the job. They've been bred for you to buy. Normally, they're pretty, or they do something like gait. Okay, now let's get on to business here. This is a saddle tree, fitting tree. I got it from Terry Wagner at Three Bells Mules. It is a tree for a mule. Now, don't get real confused by the code. The code defines only the fact that this tree is made on a BE pattern, which just happens to fits a lot of mules. Now, don't go running out looking for a saddle with a BE tree in it. First off, you'll never know what's in a tree if you buy it from a standard manufacturer. You don't know. If they say it's a mule tree, well, for example, I built a saddle up on a mule tree, and I had choices of 2 different trees, and none of them really fit. So it was a different manufacturer. This comes from Steel Saddle Trees, which is one of the oldest, probably the oldest saddle tree company maker in the country. Civil War, the Union Army burned their plant in Tennessee. So, but this is, as you can see, this has got, the rafter is really pretty long, runs out kind of flat. It's got relief in the front and relief in the back, that's you're supposed to have. And one thing I don't want you to get confused about, and it's a starter, when you get started in saddles on animals, you get kind of confused because here's these names: semi-quarter horse, full quarter horse, mule tree, a walking horse tree, Arab tree. It's crazy. You almost have to fit them with something like this or the plastic molds he has from them. Now, a lot of times they'll say there's a gullet width here. They measure out the gullet width. Well, that's well and good, but if everything else doesn't fit, it doesn't matter what the gullet is. And besides, it's very, very difficult to measure the gullet width out, even on a tree. So you're better off trying to fit something to the back rather than trying to get some measurements. Now this saddle, if you look back here, this saddle here has this tree in it. This saddle here has this tree in it. Now that's a BE tree. Now what we've done is, we've taken, and what they've done is, they've taken the same BE type of bar pattern, okay? In this case, they narrowed it. Because a lot of the mules or donkey type animals are narrow. They've narrowed it 1/2 inch. So this side over here, this saddle is a BE 1/2 minus. This has a BE 1/2 minus my Cascade saddle. You'll see all of these in the next couple of days. Now, so they've widened this gullet a little bit, changed the shape, because when you change the gullet, you change the shape. And then, now we go over here, and we get another BE tree. Now this is a BE 1/2 plus. So in other words, the same as this is 1/4 inch on each side, smaller. This is 1/4 inch on each side, wider than this. Because this can fit a lot of different horses, mules rather. An example of this was Robert Eversole brought his little mule Coco in. And I thought she was going to be a BE. We slapped it on her. No, it was too tight. It was setting up too far, just too tight. We came in here, grabbed this one, and dropped it on. Perfect. So you see, there's a lot more to this than just, and this is going to make you more confused. I know it is. But until you get into that element of confusion, you can't learn anything. If you go down and get stuck on a semi-quarter horse, quarter horse, 6.5, 6 1/4, 6 and whatever, 7-inch gullets, you're missing out on something else. You're missing out on the shape of this bar. How is it rafter? How does it set on their backs? Where is the twist in it? For example, I have here in the wood, without being wrapped, I have a McClellan tree for an 51 or 52 McClellan tree, just in the wood. How it would have come from the manufacturer. And if you'll notice how this one tends to be a little bit flat. Maybe it's better this way. Now this one ends up to being a little bit flatter, and this one has a lot of twist in it. This twist. When you go to step next to your animal, find the scapula, and bring your hand down their back, and watch what your hand does. If your hand comes down, starts up, and then lays down nice and flat. If your hand comes up, and if your hand goes to starts here There's a big twist in it before it ever layers out, and it'll layer out further back. That's your twist, your saddle. So, to make it even more confusing probably for you, the thing is, I think we start talking about saddles, then riding saddles. We have to start understanding what it's built on. It's like shoes. Shoes are made on what they call a last. It's the shape of a shoe size. Not everybody's foot fits that. So if you have a custom-made boot made, they go in and actually fill out different portions of that pattern for your foot. The same thing here, except they're doing it in big chunks. So let me think here for a second. There's so much to this, and I'm right now just hitting you with a real broad brush overview of this, just to get started. When we start out in this business, it's very confusing for most folks. It's extremely confusing, and there's no question in my mind about it, because I was confused. You go down and try to get a saddle to fit your animal, and the first thing you do, you sit in it at the tack store. Oh, that's not comfortable. I think I could ride that. It's purty. It's just what you want. It's purty. You bring your animal and throw it on, doesn't fit. Okay, that's disgusting as heck. So it ends up, and then you ask somebody that's selling you the saddles, and they go, well, I don't know, maybe you'll try a different saddle, or maybe you'll try throw another saddle on, see if it'll fit. So it's very difficult, and I hope through, not this series, which is going to be an introductory type series, I hope as we go along further, and if it's possible for me to do the volume of these I wish to do for you and help you with, it'll be a little clearer. If there's anything I can do for you and answer any questions for you, just go to my website, and on every bottom of every page is a phone number. I will answer the telephone for you. So for now, I hope I explain a little bit about this. Again, remember, a saddle, if you put a saddle on, and when you try to put your fingers in here, if this is tight against or here against their shoulders, that isn't going to work. You're not going to work. This is a relief, so it goes over the scalp. If the saddle moves forward, there's room for that shoulder to move a little bit underneath it if it has to. This will be set about 1.5 inches or inch to 1.5 inches behind that joint. But if it moves forward, and these saddles will not fit exactly the same place all the time. Same thing in the back. You want to flare around this. You want everything around this tree not to be digging in. Wow. I hope I didn't confuse you more than I did. I did. I hope not. But we'll work together, and we'll go forward. But before I started showing you different saddles I have here, I thought I had to give you at least a thumbnail's view of the saddle trees that are in them. And this is what are in our saddles. Thank you so much for coming by, folks. You have a wonderful day, and remember, please ride as often as you can, and please ride as safely as you can. We'll see you later.